The most highly anticipated free agency in baseball history was just thrown a major curveball. With just over a month to go in the 2023 campaign, two-way sensation and impending free agent Shohei Ohtani was diagnosed with a tear in his right ulnar collateral ligament, an injury that's cast doubt over his future as a pitcher. Because this isn't his first UCL tear. Ohtani previously tore his UCL back in 2018 and eventually underwent Tommy John surgery to repair it. And if it turns out he needs another Tommy John surgery, the odds of him returning to pitch at an elite level are decidedly dicey. There's now a real risk, in other words, that this two-way phenom may not be an effective pitcher moving forward, and this untimely injury undoubtedly cost him hundreds of millions of dollars in free agency. However, despite the uncertainty surrounding his future as a pitcher, Ohtani is still worth the biggest contract in MLB history, and every team in baseball should be lining up to give him their money. As recently as a couple weeks ago, Ohtani had a real chance to land not only the biggest contract in MLB history this coming offseason, but the largest contract in the history of North American professional sports.
Make a lot of money.
The Japanese sensation is practically a lock to secure his second AL MVP award in a 3-year span in 2023, and his unparalleled value as both an elite hitter and an elite starting pitcher had those around the game wondering if he might command as much as $600 million as a free agent this winter. A deal of that magnitude would have absolutely shattered the record for biggest contract in MLB history, which, as it happens, currently belongs to Ohtani's longtime Los Angeles Angels teammate Mike Trout. It also would have blown past two-time Super Bowl champion and two-time MVP Patrick Mahomes' $500 million deal with the Kansas City Chiefs, which is currently the largest contract in North American sports history. Now, however, it's safe to say that $600 million is off the table for Ohtani. His devastating and untimely elbow injury has completely reshaped his looming free agency because it's very difficult to project what Ohtani will be from this point onward. If he needs a second Tommy John surgery, the likelihood of him continuing to be one of baseball's most dominant starting pitchers isn't great. According to a 2020 study, only half of two-time Tommy John recipients were able to return to their previous levels of competition. It also emphasized that outcomes for second Tommy Johns, or revisions, are not as promising as those for primary procedures.
Depressing.
And while doing the impossible is very much Ohtani's thing, expecting him to continue throwing 150 innings at an elite level every year following a second UCL reconstruction while also continuing to DH every day is a lot, even for him. Having said that, he's still worth the biggest contract baseball has ever seen. Full stop.
He's amazing.
After all, although his days as a top-end starting pitcher may be behind him, he's still arguably the best hitter on the planet. This year, Ohtani leads the majors in OPS, isolated power, and weighted runs created plus, and he still has an outside chance to take home the American League Triple Crown. And this isn't some aberration. He's been raking for years. Since the start of 2021, the only qualified hitters with a higher WRC plus than Ohtani are Aaron Judge, Trout, and Yordan Alvarez. Over that span, Ohtani has more extra base hits than anyone else in baseball, and he's second to only Judge in homers. Oh yeah, and he's also top 20 in the majors in stolen bases over that span, because he's also freakishly fast and a terrific base runner. All told, despite not providing any defensive value, Ohtani is 8th among position players in WAR since the start of 2021. Yeah, he's good, but that extraordinary production is also a reflection of the fact that, despite the singular workload Ohtani has shouldered as a two-way player, he almost never misses a game at the plate. In 2021, his first MVP season, he played 155 games. The following year, he played 157. And this year, he's on pace to miss even fewer because he's not going to let a torn UCL stop him from hitting.
You're Batman. Yeah, I am Batman.
Simply put, even if he never throws another pitch, he's still one of the best, most durable players in all of baseball. And, presumably, his combination of speed and athleticism would make for an easy transition to the outfield if worse comes to worse and he has to give up on pitching entirely. Plus, he only just turned 29. When you combine his offensive profile, his age, and his unrivaled marketing value, it's hard to see how he wouldn't land the biggest contract in baseball history. Last winter, after all, Judge got $360 million over 9 years in free agency, and he was heading into his age 31 campaign. Ohtani is going to hit the market 2 years younger and no less deserving of a $40 million average annual value. That salary over 11 years equates to $440 million, well clear of Judge's record deal for a free agent and Trout's record for largest contract in MLB history. And again, that contract presupposes that Ohtani is done pitching, which isn't a guarantee.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Even if his torn UCL is serious enough to necessitate a second Tommy John, which would presumably keep him off the mound until 2025, that's not necessarily a death sentence. While there's no perfect comparison for the incomparable Ohtani, the continuing big league success of guys like Nathan Eovaldi and Mike Clevinger offer reasons for optimism that hard-throwing starters can continue to be effective and healthy after a second Tommy John. And besides, even a less effective Ohtani would still be incredibly effective. Since 2021, Ohtani ranks in the top 10 in the majors in ERA and fielding independent pitching while holding opponents to a 197 batting average. He could be plenty worse post-surgery and still be a mid-rotation starter. And it's not like he has to be a starter to provide value on the mound either. If you recall, Ohtani dazzled out of the bullpen in the 2023 World Baseball Classic, and if there are concerns about his durability or effectiveness following a Tommy John revision, why couldn't he follow in the footsteps of a John Smoltz? Ultimately, it's not a foregone conclusion that he's finished as a two-way player, and while he's certainly a riskier investment now, that upside still needs to be accounted for in his forthcoming contract. Again though, Ohtani would be worth a record-setting deal even if that upside on the mound is never realized. He's that special of a player offensively. And hopefully, for baseball fans everywhere and the team that eventually signs him to a gargantuan contract, he'll remind everyone before long just how special he is on the mound too. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.